Welcome. If you're listening to this, chances are you've hit a wall. Maybe it was burnout, maybe a heartbreak, a failure that knocked the air out of you, or maybe you just feel lost, drifting through days that don't feel like your own. Whatever brought you here, know this: you're not broken. You're at the start of something powerful. This audiobook is a 6-month plan to rebuild yourself, piece by piece, not just on the outside, but from the inside out, mentally sharper, emotionally balanced, physically energized, spiritually aligned, and socially empowered. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about returning to the strongest, clearest version of you. This is not a quick fix. Real transformation takes time, commitment, and courage. There will be setbacks. That's okay. This journey isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Even one small change, done consistently, can spark a lifetime of growth. You'll find each chapter mapped out for a specific focus, with real stories, practical tools, and reflection points. Listen, pause, reflect, take notes, and most importantly, act. The breakdown you've experienced, it's not the end, it's the beginning of your breakthrough. Let's begin. Chapter 1, Month 1, Reclaiming Control, Detox and Self-Assessment. Before you rebuild anything, you need to clear the rubble. Month 1 is about reclaiming control, not of everything in your life, but of what enters your mind, your space, and your energy. This is where the fog begins to lift. We start with a 7-day detox. Not the kind involving celery juice or expensive supplements. This is a digital and emotional detox. One designed to create space between you and everything that's been quietly consuming you. The rules are simple, but they require courage. For 7 days, step away from social media. Turn off the noise. Log out, uninstall if you need to, and silence the digital world. Set boundaries with the news. Check headlines once a day at most, or not at all. If there's someone in your life who brings more stress than peace, consider a pause. It doesn't have to be dramatic, but for this week, choose you. This is about protecting your mental bandwidth. You're not running away, you're reclaiming space to think and feel clearly. Next, take inventory. Real inventory. Open a journal or a blank document. No filters, no perfection. Ask yourself, what's not working in my life? Don't rush to fix anything, just name it. What habits are draining you? What environments make you shrink? Who do you feel anxious around? What have you been tolerating that deep down you know you shouldn't? These questions may sting, but they're the beginning of clarity. Be honest. Are your days filled with distractions instead of direction? Have you been numbing pain instead of processing it? Through scrolling, binging, drinking, staying busy. None of this makes you weak or broken. It makes you human. But now is the time to stop running and start observing. You can't change what you won't confront. Now that the noise is reduced and the spotlight is on your inner world, look at your current habits. What are your default behaviors when you're stressed? Who do you reach out to or avoid? How do you speak to yourself when you make mistakes? These aren't just patterns, they're windows into your internal wiring. To rebuild yourself, you need to understand the materials you've been working with. Let's ground this in a real-world example. James, a 28-year-old software developer, found himself stuck in a cycle he couldn't explain. Every evening, after work, he would dive into hours of gaming, followed by endless scrolling on social media. He told himself it was to unwind, but the truth was it left him feeling numb. His sleep was erratic. His weekends blurred into unproductive guilt. When he started this process, he made one bold move. He deleted all his social media apps and took a 1-week break from gaming. It wasn't easy. The first few days, he felt twitchy, like something was missing. But by day 4, something surprising happened. his mind was quieter. He picked up an old notebook and began writing down what his days really looked like, what he was avoiding, what he missed. For the first time in years, he saw the truth of his own behavior, and it shifted something inside him. That's the kind of clarity this month is about. By the end of this chapter, you won't have everything figured out, and you're not supposed to. What you will have is the beginning of self-awareness, and self-awareness is the first brick in the foundation of any real transformation. When you remove the noise, the truth comes forward. It's often uncomfortable, but it's always necessary. So for this first month, don't focus on goals. Focus on space. Create it. Guard it. Use it to examine your life without judgment. The detox is your reset button. The self-assessment is your blueprint. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being real, and that's where true change begins. Chapter 2, Month 2, Mindset Reset, Beliefs, Boundaries, and Self-Talk. Now that you've cleared the noise and confronted what isn't working in your life, it's time to go deeper. In Month 2, we turn inward and take a hard look at the conversations happening inside your own mind. Because here's the truth, you will never rise above the story you keep telling yourself. So let's ask the real question: what do you believe about yourself? Quietly, automatically, and often without realizing it. Most of us are walking around with invisible scripts. Scripts that were written in childhood, shaped by trauma, influenced by parents, teachers, relationships, and past experiences. And often, these scripts aren't kind, they're not helpful, and worst of all, they feel like facts. Maybe your inner script says things like, I'm not good enough, I'm always behind, I can't trust people, success is for other people. If I try, I'll probably fail anyway. Limiting beliefs are like invisible walls. They don't scream, but they quietly shape every decision you make. And the longer they go unchecked, the more real they seem. But beliefs are not facts. They are stories. And stories can be rewritten. Let's begin with a simple but powerful exercise. Grab your journal and write down this question: what do I believe about myself that might not be true? Don't overthink. Let the answers come. Then go one step further. For every negative belief, write down where it might have started. Was it a parent's criticism, a comment from a teacher, a moment you failed and never forgot? Understanding the root of a belief doesn't excuse it, but it gives you the power to change it. Now comes the shift. For every limiting belief you wrote, create an empowering truth to replace it. Let's say you've been carrying the belief, I'm not good enough. Your new truth might be, I am growing, I am learning, and I am worthy exactly as I am. If your old belief says, I can't trust people, your new truth might be, I am learning to trust myself, and I attract people who honor that trust. This isn't about blind positivity. This is about retraining your mind, and that takes repetition. That's where affirmations come in, not as cheesy mantras, but as intentional rewiring tools. Write down 5 to 10 affirmations that reflect the new story you want to live. Say them every morning. Write them on sticky notes. Tape them to your mirror, your laptop, your car dashboard. Anywhere your old beliefs tend to creep in, replace them with reminders of the truth you're choosing. Let's look at a real example. A woman named Alina came into this process after years of self-doubt. She was a high performer, always striving, always pushing, but deep down she was exhausted. Her inner voice was brutal. I'm not good enough had been on repeat since childhood, buried under layers of achievement and comparison. When she started month 2, she resisted affirmations. They felt fake. But eventually she wrote 5 that felt just barely believable. Things like, I am allowed to rest. I am enough, without proving anything. My worth is not tied to what I achieve. She taped them to her bathroom mirror. The first week, they felt ridiculous. By week 2, she noticed she started saying them without flinching, and by the end of the month, something had shifted. The voice in her head wasn't gone, but it was no longer the loudest one. Let's talk about another crucial part of this mindset reset. Your mindset isn't just shaped by your thoughts, it's shaped by what you allow into your space. Setting boundaries is not about being harsh or cold, it's about choosing what gets access to your energy, who drains you, what obligations leave you feeling resentful or used. Where in your life do you keep saying yes when you want to say no? It's time to stop treating your availability like public property. You are not obligated to explain your boundaries to everyone. You are allowed to protect your peace, even if it makes others uncomfortable. This month, practice saying no without apology. Say no to people, tasks, events, conversations, and responsibilities that no longer align with who you are becoming. You can start small. Say no to that extra meeting you don't need to attend. Say no to answering messages past your working hours. Say no to gossip. Say no to the habit of immediately reacting to everything. Every no you say to others is a yes you say to yourself. And if setting boundaries makes you feel guilty, remind yourself of this. Guilt is often the echo of your old identity trying to survive in your new life. To round out this month's work, let's explore one more powerful tool: reframing. This is the art of looking at a situation, and instead of defaulting to negativity, you train yourself to look for growth. Let's say you missed a goal. Old mindset. I'm a failure. New mindset. This is feedback. I'm learning how to do it better next time. Reframing doesn't deny reality, it expands it. So your Mindset Reset Toolkit this month includes journaling and identifying limiting beliefs, creating empowering truths, practicing daily affirmations, setting clear boundaries, using reframing to shift your perspective. Do this work consistently, and you'll start to notice something amazing. You'll begin to trust yourself again. You'll think more clearly, speak more kindly, and choose more deliberately. You'll no longer be stuck in the same mental loops. This isn't magic, it's mindset. And mindset is the engine that drives everything else in your life. So as month 2 unfolds, be patient. The voice in your head may not change overnight, but with each boundary you set, each belief you challenge, each affirmation you speak, you're building a new narrative. One that supports you instead of sabotaging you. You're not just changing how you think, you're changing who you become. Chapter 3. Month 3. Body Rebuild. Energy, Fitness and Nutrition. You've cleared the mental clutter. You've started rewriting your inner story. Now, it's time to reconnect with the place you live every day, your body. Because here's the truth. Most people forget, your body is not separate from your mindset or emotions. It's the vessel through which you experience the world. And if you want to rebuild your life, that vessel needs care, consistency, and compassion. Month 3 is all about the physical foundation, your energy, your movement, your fuel. This isn't about aesthetics, it's about function. You don't need to chase six-packs or run marathons. What you do need is a body that supports the life you're trying to build. A body that wakes up with enough energy to carry you through the day. A body that feels strong enough to handle what life throws at you. A body that isn't running on caffeine, stress, and broken sleep. Let's start simple. Movement. Not exercise, not performance. Movement. For some, this might mean a gym membership or group class. For others, it starts with walking around the block, and that's more than enough. The goal isn't intensity, it's consistency. Take the story of Ravi, a 35-year-old accountant who spent most of his day sitting behind a screen. He wasn't overweight, but he constantly felt tired, foggy, and anxious. He hadn't exercised in years, and felt embarrassed even thinking about going to a gym, so he started small, 20-minute walks in the morning, just around his neighborhood. No fancy gear, no tracking apps, just movement. By the second week, he noticed he was waking up with more ease. The anxiety that usually hit him mid-morning, it wasn't as loud. His thoughts felt clearer, all from something as simple as walking. That's the power of movement. Pick something sustainable. Maybe it's a daily walk, a short YouTube yoga session, a bike ride, or dancing in your living room. Choose what you enjoy, because when movement feels like punishment, you won't stick to it. But when it feels like care, it becomes a habit. Next, let's talk about fuel, nutrition. No crash diets, no guilt, just a return to real food. That means more things that grow, fewer things that come in wrappers. Add more color to your plate, more greens, fruits, healthy fats, lean proteins. Eat meals that don't leave you bloated, sluggish, or crashing in an hour. And hydrate more than you think. Most people live in a constant state of mild dehydration, mistaking fatigue for hunger or brain fog. Don't underestimate the impact of these small shifts. When your body is properly nourished and hydrated, your mood improves, your brain functions better, you sleep deeper, you're less reactive, you feel more in control. Speaking of sleep, this is your secret weapon. If there's one area to protect like your life depends on it, it's sleep, because in a way it does. You can't rebuild anything on 4 hours of restless tossing. Aim for 7-8 hours of quality. That means going to bed and waking up around the same time. No screens an hour before sleep. Create a calming wind-down routine. Stretching, reading, journaling, even just dimming the lights. Your body needs cues to know it's time to rest. Why does all of this matter so much? Because your physical health directly impacts your emotional resilience. When you're exhausted, you're more likely to snap at loved ones, doubt yourself, and spiral into negative thinking. When your blood sugar is crashing, your anxiety peaks. When you're dehydrated, everything feels harder. This is not about being perfect. It's about being attuned, listening to your body's signals, meeting its needs with compassion instead of criticism. Now let's explore something deeper. Mindfulness through movement. When was the last time you moved your body and were fully present while doing it? No music, no podcasts, no multitasking, just movement and breath. Practices like yoga, stretching, tai chi, or even mindful walking teach you how to reconnect with your body, to feel grounded, to breathe through discomfort instead of avoiding it. Try this. Every day, take 5 minutes to stretch your body with full awareness. Feel the tension in your shoulders. Notice how your breath flows. These quiet moments build trust between you and your physical self. And trust is what this whole process is about. This month, your focus is not on fixing your body, it's on honoring it, giving it what it's needed all along. Movement, real food, rest, hydration, and presence. Here's your body rebuild checklist. Choose a sustainable movement routine. Daily walks, light workouts, or stretching. Eat more whole, unprocessed foods. Cook when you can. Listen to your hunger cues. Drink more water. Keep a bottle nearby. Notice how it affects your focus and energy. Protect your sleep. Wind down with intention. Make rest a sacred ritual. Introduce mindfulness. Stretch, walk, or move with presence. If you're feeling resistance, that's normal. You may have spent years disconnected from your body, but this month is your invitation to return to it, to make it a partner in your transformation, not a problem to be fixed. So take a breath, feel your feet on the ground, and remember, You don't need to go fast. You just need to go forward, step by step, day by day. The body doesn't lie. When you take care of it, it takes care of you. Let this be the month you stop punishing your body and start partnering with it. Let this be the foundation you build everything else upon. You're not just getting stronger, you're becoming more whole. Chapter 4, Month 4. Emotional healing, letting go and processing pain. This month, we step into perhaps the most tender and transformative part of your journey, emotional healing. If the previous months were about clearing the mental clutter, setting boundaries, and rebuilding the body, this month is about turning toward the emotional wounds you've been carrying, sometimes for years, sometimes your whole life. Here's what you need to know. You cannot heal what you refuse to feel. Emotional pain doesn't dissolve just because time passes. It hides. It burrows into your habits, your relationships, your reactions. Unhealed emotions often show up as anger, numbness, anxiety, or avoidance. We cope in ways that push the pain down, through distraction, denial, or detachment. But in month 4, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to turn inward, gently and bravely, and feel it all. This isn't about being dramatic or drowning in sadness. It's about learning to name your emotions, accept them without judgment, and finally let them move through you, instead of controlling you. Start with this simple truth. Your emotions are messengers, not enemies. They aren't good or bad, they just are. Shame, guilt, anger, grief. These emotions arise to tell you something needs attention, but most of us were taught to hide them, to get over it, to stay strong, or don't cry. That conditioning creates emotional constipation, where pain gets stuck inside and festers. So, how do we start releasing it? We begin by naming what we feel. Every day, take a few quiet minutes to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Use specific words: sad, disappointed, betrayed, hopeful, relieved, lonely, grateful. Don't just say, I'm fine, or I'm tired. Go deeper. This simple act builds emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence is the foundation of emotional healing. The next practice is journaling. Not for performance, not for sharing, just for truth. Let your journal be a space where your pain has permission to exist. Write letters you'll never send. Write about moments that hurt, even if they happened years ago. Write about the things you can't say out loud. Let the page hold your honesty. A powerful technique here is the unsent letter exercise. Write a letter to someone who hurt you, someone you may never speak to again. Tell them what you wish they'd known. Tell them how it felt. Then forgive them, not for their sake, but for yours. Let me share a real example. Elena, a 41-year-old teacher, had been estranged from her father for nearly 2 decades. He had left when she was a child, and though they'd had brief, surface-level contact as adults, she had never processed the abandonment she carried. In month 4 of her healing journey, she wrote him a letter she never intended to send. In it, she wrote things she had buried for years: the grief, the anger, the shame, the longing. She cried through the entire process, and at the end she wrote, I forgive you, I release you, I release myself. She burned the letter in her backyard, feeling a weight lift off her chest for the first time in decades. She wasn't fixed, but she was free. This is what emotional healing looks like. It's messy, powerful, and deeply personal. For some, healing will involve therapy. If you've been through trauma, abandonment, loss, or abuse, professional support can help you safely process your experiences. Therapy isn't weakness, it's wisdom. A good therapist doesn't fix you. They hold space for your healing and teach you how to hold space for yourself. Another tool in your healing kit is shadow work. This means exploring the parts of yourself that you've rejected, ignored, or been ashamed of. The part of you that's jealous, the part that's afraid, the part that lashes out. These parts aren't bad, they're wounded. Shadow work invites you to bring compassion to the parts of yourself that need it most. Ask yourself, what parts of me have I been trying to hide? Where did those parts come from? What do they need from me now? Then comes one of the most challenging practices of all, learning to sit with discomfort. We've been conditioned to avoid emotional pain, scroll through it, eat through it, work through it. But growth happens when you stay with the feeling instead of running from it. If grief shows up, let it. If anger rises, notice it. Don't judge it, just be with it. Breathe, move through it gently. In those moments, remind yourself, this is healing, this is what it feels like to come home to myself. And as you begin to heal, you may find that certain people, environments, or habits no longer fit the person you're becoming. That's okay. Letting go isn't always about confrontation. Sometimes it's about quiet release, grieving the past version of yourself, and gently closing the door on what can no longer come with you. Your tools for this month are powerful and sacred. Journaling daily with full honesty, writing unsent letters to release old pain, naming your emotions instead of avoiding them, practicing forgiveness, not as a favor to others, but as freedom for yourself, exploring shadow work with compassion instead of shame, sitting with discomfort, trusting that it's safe to feel what you feel. You may cry this month. You may get angry. You may feel things that surprise you. That's all part of it. You're peeling back layers that were never yours to carry. You're making peace with your story instead of trying to rewrite the past. And here's the most beautiful part. You don't have to heal perfectly. You just have to keep showing up. Every journal entry, every tear shed, every truth spoken brings you closer to your core. This is what it means to rebuild, not just on the outside, but from the inside out. With honesty, with courage, with softness. You are not broken. You are becoming whole. And this month, as you let go, grieve and process, know that you are doing some of the deepest, most necessary work of all. Let that be enough. Let you be enough. Chapter 5. Month 5. Reconnecting with purpose, goals, vision, and legacy. Welcome to Month 5. The moment where your healing turns into momentum. You've detoxed your mind, reset your inner dialogue, rebuilt your body, and processed deep emotional pain. Now, with a clearer sense of who you are, it's time to reconnect with why you are. This is the month of purpose. For many people, burnout and stagnation stem not from working too hard, but from feeling disconnected from themselves, from meaning, from the why that once lit a fire inside them. If you felt aimless, it's not because you're lazy, it's because you've been out of alignment with what really matters to you. In Month 5, we go inward with a different question. What is the life I truly want to live, and what legacy do I want to leave behind? This isn't about pressuring yourself to save the world. Purpose isn't always big or loud. It's about living a life aligned with your values, a life that makes you feel alive, not just productive. Let's begin with a simple yet powerful exercise, visualizing your ideal day. Not your dream vacation, but your dream life. Where do you wake up? What does your morning look like? How do you spend your time? Who are you surrounded by? What kind of work, if any, are you doing? What does peace feel like in your body? Close your eyes and imagine it fully. Breathe it in. This isn't fantasy, it's a compass. Even if that ideal day is years away, it offers direction. You don't need to arrive there tomorrow, but you can begin taking steps toward it today. Now dig into your past. Not with pain this time, but with curiosity. What lit you up as a child? What did you dream of becoming before the world told you to be realistic? What were you naturally drawn to before responsibilities, fears and expectations took over? Then move forward. Ask yourself, what do I still want to do in this lifetime? What goals stir something in your chest, even if they scare you? What would you regret not doing? This is where you start forming a deeper sense of purpose, and to bring clarity. Let's look at an example. Meet Marcus. He's 39, working in a corporate job that pays well but drains his soul. 10 years ago he was a full-time musician, writing songs, playing gigs, feeling alive. But after a series of failures and financial pressure, he gave it up. He told himself it was a young man's dream. In month 5 of his personal rebuild, something shifted. During a journaling session, he remembered how music made him feel free, connected, seen. So he set one small soul-stirring goal to play just one gig again, within 3 months. No expectations, no pressure, just one night to reclaim that part of himself. He started practicing daily for 30 minutes, like a ritual. It wasn't about career revival, it was about soul revival, and that purpose of expressing truth through music was still alive in him. He just had to listen. Your version might be different. Maybe your purpose is to raise kind children, write a book, start a garden, mentor young minds, or build something that outlasts you. It doesn't matter what it is. It matters that it matters to you. Once you begin sensing that purpose, break it down into micro goals. The mistake many people make is trying to jump from vision to outcome in one leap. But lasting change is built step by step. If your vision is to start a non-profit, maybe the first micro goal is to research one similar organization. If you want to run a marathon, start with a 10-minute jog. If you want to change careers, update your resume or reach out to someone in that field. Micro goals build momentum, and momentum creates confidence. Each small action says, I believe in myself again. Also revisit your values. Ask yourself, what do I stand for? What do I want more of in my life? Freedom, creativity, connection, stability, adventure. Where do I want to spend my energy, and where do I no longer want to? These questions will help you prioritize. Purpose is less about adding more, and more about subtracting what doesn't align. This is also the month where you begin thinking about legacy. Not in a dramatic final chapter of life way, but in a present, conscious way. Every decision you make is a brick in the foundation of your legacy. What do you want to be remembered for? What energy do you want to leave behind in your relationships, your work, your community? Legacy doesn't always look like a monument. Sometimes it's a child who feels safe because of how you parented. A stranger who smiled because you were kind. A story that stayed in someone's heart. Don't underestimate the quiet power of a purposeful life. So here's your month 5 blueprint. Visualize your ideal day and future life. Let it guide your goals. Reflect on childhood dreams and adult desires. What's still calling you? Craft your purpose statement, a personal compass for your path. Set 2-3 micro goals that align with your bigger vision. Revisit your values, let them drive decisions, not just desires. Think about legacy. What mark do you want to leave, starting today? You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to care enough to begin. Rebuilding yourself is not about becoming someone new. It's about reconnecting with who you've always been, beneath the noise, the fear, the pressure, and the pain. Let this month be your ignition. Let it remind you that your life is not a to-do list. It's a canvas, and you hold the brush. Purpose isn't found, it's remembered, and it's waiting for you. Chapter 6, Month 6. Systems and habits, daily routines that reinforce the new you, You've come a long way. Month 6 isn't the finish line, it's the foundation. By now you've reclaimed control of your mental space, reshaped your inner narrative, reignited your physical vitality, processed your emotional pain, and reconnected with your purpose. That's powerful. But here's the truth. Transformation doesn't stick unless it's supported by systems. This final month is about making your growth sustainable. You're not just going to feel like a new person, you're going to live like one, consistently, calmly, automatically. This chapter is about systems and habits, the structure that will carry your rebuilt self forward, because willpower fades, motivation wavers. But habits keep showing up when you don't feel like it. Let's begin with this idea. Don't build your life around motivation, build it around routine. Motivation is emotional, discipline is structural. If you only act when you feel inspired, you'll only progress in random bursts. But if you have systems, routines that reinforce your identity, you'll continue to evolve even on tough days. So we start with the bookends of your day, your morning and evening routines. Your morning routine sets your tone. It's not about cramming a to-do list into the first hour of your day. It's about centering yourself before the world pulls you in 1,000 directions. This is where you ground your mindset, move your body, nourish your focus, and affirm your goals. It can be simple. Just 30 minutes of deliberate action. For example, 5 minutes of meditation or breathwork, 10 minutes of stretching or movement, 5 minutes of journaling or gratitude listing, 10 minutes to enjoy a healthy breakfast or smoothie. No phone, no noise. That's it, and it changes everything. Take our example. Jasmine, a 33-year-old marketing manager, used to wake up feeling behind before the day even started. Her phone was the first thing she touched. Emails, news, messages. Her mind was flooded within minutes. By month 6, she designed a 30-minute ritual, 5 minutes of quiet breathing, followed by light stretching, writing in her journal, and a green smoothie. Her rule: no phone until all 4 steps were complete. It wasn't fancy, but it gave her clarity, control, and calm. Her day no longer started with chaos, it began with choice. Now let's talk about habit stacking. This technique, popularized by author James Clear in Atomic Habits, is about linking new habits to existing ones. For example, after I brush my teeth, I'll drink a full glass of water. After I make coffee, I'll write down one goal for the day. After I get home from work, I'll take a 10-minute walk. You're not reinventing your day, you're enhancing it. You're building new habits by anchoring them to actions that already exist in your routine. Over time, these micro moments become rituals. They require less thought, less effort, and yet they build massive momentum. You can also reinforce habits with habit tracking. This can be as simple as checking boxes on a calendar, using a bullet journal, or using apps like Habitica, Streaks, or Notion. Why? Because tracking creates visibility. It reminds your brain that this habit matters. It also gives you proof of progress, which fuels motivation and builds identity. When you see those tiny check marks piling up day after day, it tells your mind, I am someone who shows up. Now a word about discipline versus motivation. Most people wait until they feel like doing something, but motivation is fleeting. Discipline is the muscle that gets stronger the more you use it. Discipline is showing up when you don't feel like it. And ironically, the more you show up without motivation, the more motivation starts to grow. But discipline doesn't mean being rigid or robotic. It means having a system that supports you even when your emotions don't. Systems make success easier. They remove friction. They remove decision fatigue. Ask yourself, what routines would make my life smoother? What time-sucking decisions could I automate or eliminate? What small systems could support my health, focus, or creativity. Examples: lay out your workout clothes the night before, pre-plan meals or prep ingredients every Sunday. Schedule blocks of deep work on your calendar, keep your journal and pen on your nightstand. And remember, systems don't have to be digital. Some of the most effective ones are analog: sticky notes on your mirror, timers on your phone, physical checklists. Choose the method that feels natural for you. What matters is consistency, not complexity. Also, don't try to overhaul everything at once. Start with 5 key habits that align with your goals and identity. A morning ritual, a movement practice, even 10 minutes a day. A journaling or reflection habit, a focus-enhancing boundary, like no social media before 9 a.m. A nighttime wind-down system, no screens 30 minutes before bed, reading or calming tea. You've done the deep work. These daily rituals now become the rebar of your rebuild, the hidden structures that hold your new life in place. And most importantly, give yourself grace. You will slip, you'll miss a morning, you'll forget to journal. That's okay. This isn't about perfection, it's about pattern. Don't let one missed habit spiral into self-blame. Just return to the routine, like returning home. That's what systems are for. They hold you when you fall and remind you how far you've come. So here's your month 6 blueprint. Design a simple morning and evening routine to bookend your day with intention. Use habit stacking to attach new behaviors to existing ones. Track your habits, digitally or manually, to build awareness and consistency. Rely on discipline, not emotion, and build systems that support your identity. Start small. Focus on a few high-impact habits, not everything at once. Celebrate progress. One small habit repeated over time is life-changing. You've done the work. You've reconnected with who you are and what matters. Now you get to live it, not just on good days but every day, because you've built the structure to support your transformation. This month, you become not just the architect of your life, but its caretaker. You're not starting over anymore. You're starting forward. This is the beginning of a life that holds all of you: your discipline, your softness, your dreams, your routines. A life that supports the new you every single day. Chapter 7. Rebuilding relationships, boundaries, trust, and tribe. By now you've done deep work on yourself, mind, body, heart, and habits. But no true transformation exists in isolation. We are social beings, wired for connection. The people you surround yourself with will either support your growth or silently sabotage it. This chapter is about rebuilding relationships, intentionally, courageously, and with clarity. Because healing isn't just about how you treat yourself, it's also about what you accept from others and what you no longer tolerate. Let's start with a bold truth. You don't owe your past circle a permanent place in your future. That may be hard to hear, but you've changed, and your relationships must evolve too. Begin this month by re-evaluating your current relationships. Which connections feel energizing, respectful, reciprocal? Which ones feel draining, guilt-laden, or manipulative? Make a list, literally. Reflect on your friendships, family ties, work dynamics, even your romantic life. Ask yourself, do I feel safe being myself around this person? Do I leave our conversations feeling more clear or more confused? Is this relationship rooted in growth or in familiarity and fear? Sometimes we stay tied to people out of history, not harmony. Growth requires that you let go of connections that keep you small, anxious, or ashamed. This brings us to boundaries. A rebuilt version of you needs boundaries like a house needs walls, not to shut people out, but to define where you begin and where you end. Healthy boundaries sound like, I can't make that event, but I hope it goes well. I'm not comfortable talking about that right now. Please don't raise your voice when we disagree, and boundaries don't have to be aggressive. They are clear, firm, and compassionate. Boundaries aren't about control. They're about self-respect. Now let's talk about communication. Most relationship breakdowns don't stem from malice. They stem from miscommunication and unmet expectations. Practice honest, direct, and non-defensive communication. Use I statements instead of blame. I feel overwhelmed when the plans change last minute. I need more emotional support in this friendship. And remember, you're allowed to walk away from people who don't respect your boundaries or your needs. Sometimes healing means grieving relationships that once fit, but no longer do. But here's the good news: as you release misaligned connections, you create space for something beautiful, your aligned tribe. This is your community of people who reflect your values, your energy, your direction. You don't have to find them all at once. You can build your tribe, one aligned relationship at a time. To attract these people, you must be willing to show up as your true self, not the masked version who performs or pleases. That authenticity is what draws in real connection. Think about your interests, passions, and values. Where do those kinds of people gather? Maybe it's a creative writing group, a local gym, a spirituality circle, or a hiking club. Let's bring in an example. Darren, a 35-year-old software developer, had been hanging out with the same group of friends since high school. They partied every weekend, talked in surface-level jokes, and dismissed his recent efforts to get healthy and focused. Deep down, he felt disconnected, but afraid to step away. In month 7, he made the leap. He stopped showing up to the parties. He joined a weekend hiking group in his city. At first, it felt awkward, but within a few weeks, he found himself laughing, opening up, and bonding over shared values like wellness, personal growth, and nature. For the first time in years, he felt seen, not just known. You deserve relationships like that, real ones, built on mutual respect, trust, shared purpose, not convenience, guilt, or familiarity. So here's your Chapter 7 blueprint. Audit your relationships. Reflect honestly on which ones nourish or drain you. Strengthen your boundaries. Speak up for your needs. Protect your energy. Practice conscious communication. Say what you mean, and mean it with care. Release toxic or misaligned connections. Not with anger, just clarity. Seek your tribe. Start with shared interests, and show up authentically. Remember, energy attracts energy. Be the kind of friend you want to meet. Your relationships shape your reality. And now, as a rebuilt version of yourself, you get to choose differently. You get to surround yourself with people who see your light and reflect it back. This is the month to reclaim connection, to walk away from relationships that shrink you, and walk toward ones that expand you. The tribe is out there, but it starts with you. Chapter 8. Financial Reset. Money Mindset, Budgeting, and Abundance. Let's talk about something that silently influences nearly every decision we make. Money. For many of us, finances aren't just numbers on a screen. They're tied to emotions, fear, shame, guilt, stress. That's why this chapter is about more than budgeting. It's about healing your money mindset and creating financial habits that reflect peace, not panic. First, let's get one thing clear. You are not your past financial mistakes. Maybe you overspent, ignored debt, lived paycheck to paycheck, or avoided your bank account altogether. That's okay. That was survival. You were doing the best you could with what you knew at the time. But now, you're ready for more than survival. You're ready for stability, for clarity, for growth. So the first step is to analyze your financial history without shame. Instead of saying, "I'm bad with money." Say, "I'm learning how to manage money better." That's a massive mindset shift. Open your statements. Look at your expenses. Where has your money gone over the past 3 months? What patterns do you see? Let's bring in an example. Monica, a 29-year-old designer, always felt broke, even though she had a steady job. In month 8, she started tracking every expense using a simple app. Within 2 weeks, she noticed something shocking. She was spending over $300 a month on impulse buys, snacks, online sales, little dopamine hits. She wasn't bad with money. She was unaware. Once she saw the pattern, she redirected that money toward paying off a credit card. By the end of the month, she felt something she hadn't in a long time. Control. You don't have to be a financial expert to take charge. You just need to know where your money is going and start telling it where to go instead. That's where budgeting basics come in. A budget isn't a punishment. It's a plan. It gives your money purpose. Start with these simple categories: essentials, rent, utilities, groceries, debts or payments, saving, even if it's just $10 a week, fun or flexible spending. Use the 50-30-20 rule if you're new to it. 50% to needs, 30% to wants, 20% to savings and debt. Repayment. And here's the trick. Track without judgment. Numbers don't lie, but they also don't shame. They just inform. You are simply gathering data about your behavior so you can make better choices. Now let's talk about mindset. Many of us were raised in a scarcity environment where money was tight, unpredictable, or a source of tension. That mindset often follows us into adulthood. It shows up in statements like, "There's never enough, I'm just not good with money. I'll always be in debt." But you can choose a different belief system. An abundance mindset says, "I am learning to be a good steward of my money. There are opportunities to earn and grow. Money flows to me when I align with purpose and discipline." The shift from scarcity to abundance isn't magical, it's mental. It starts with awareness, then intention, then action. One way to rewire this belief is through financial affirmations. Try saying them daily. "I am worthy of financial freedom. I spend and save in alignment with my goals. I am attracting opportunities to grow my income." Speak abundance, even before it's visible. Your mindset sets your financial thermostat. If it's stuck on barely enough, you'll unconsciously sabotage progress. If it's set to growth, your habits will follow. Now, let's set some financial goals. They don't need to be huge at first. Start with a short-term goal. Save $500 in 3 months. A mid-term goal. Pay off this credit card by December. A long-term goal. Build a $10,000 emergency fund. Break these into micro steps. Automate $25 a week into savings. Call your credit company and ask about lower interest rates. Start a side hustle doing something you enjoy. It's not about how much you have. It's about what you do with what you have. And remember, abundance isn't just about accumulation. It's about alignment. When you spend in ways that reflect your values, money becomes a tool, not a trigger. You begin to see it not as something to fear, but something to flow with. So here's your Chapter 8 blueprint. Review your past financial behaviors with honesty, not shame. Track your current spending for 30 days, just to observe. Create a simple budget that reflects your needs, values, and goals. Practice financial affirmations to rewire your money mindset. Set short and long-term goals, and break them into tiny actions. Spend with purpose. Every dollar is a decision about who you're becoming. Money doesn't define your worth, but how you treat money can define your freedom. This month, you stop fearing money and start partnering with it. You're not just rebuilding your bank account. You're rebuilding your sense of possibility. Chapter 9. Confidence and Identity. Stepping into the new you. You've detoxed your mind, rebuilt your habits, reconnected with your purpose, and cleared space in your life. Now it's time to meet the person all this work has been preparing you for. This chapter is about stepping into your identity with confidence, not someday, not when you're perfect, but now. Because identity is not something we find, like a lost item under the couch. Identity is something we build, choice by choice, action by action, belief by belief. Let's begin with a truth you need to embrace. You are allowed to take up space. Confidence is not arrogance. It's presence. It's being fully in your skin, unapologetically. It's walking into a room without shrinking, speaking your truth without apology, and making decisions from self-trust instead of fear. Confidence begins with self-acceptance, not because you've fixed everything, but because you've decided you are worthy as you are. You're in progress, yes, but you're also already enough. That internal shift starts to reflect outward. Confidence lives in your style, your posture, your voice, and your decisions. Start small. Stand up straight, shoulders back, head held high, look people in the eye, speak clearly and with intention. Even if your voice trembles at first, these physical cues signal to your nervous system, I belong here. Your style matters too, not for vanity, but for embodiment. Wear clothes that reflect who you are becoming. This doesn't mean expensive fashion. It means choosing pieces that feel like your most confident self. Sometimes putting on a certain jacket or pair of shoes shifts your whole state of being. That's power. Then come the decisions. Confident people make decisions, not because they're always right, but because they're willing to move forward, adjust, and trust themselves along the way. Confidence is not certainty, it's courage, and you grow it by acting, not by waiting to feel ready. Let's talk about discomfort, because this is where most people get stuck. Growth will stretch you. Stepping into your next level identity will feel unfamiliar, sometimes even scary. But discomfort is the price of admission to becoming who you truly are. Here's an example. Brian, a 32-year-old accountant, had always identified as shy. He avoided attention, hated speaking up, and often let others make decisions for him. But deep down, he wanted to lead. In month 9, he signed up for a public speaking course, something that terrified him. The first week, he could barely introduce himself without sweating, but he kept going. By week 4, he delivered a 5-minute talk in front of 20 people. His hands shook, his voice cracked, but he finished. And afterward, he felt 10 feet tall. For the first time in his life, he saw himself differently, as someone who could lead, speak, and be heard. That's identity building. It's doing the scary thing before you feel like the person who can do it, and realizing in the act that you already are. So this month, take bold steps. Apply for that opportunity. Introduce yourself to someone new. Start the project you've been putting off. Speak up in the meeting. Post the video. Wear the outfit. Do the thing. Each step plants a seed in your self-image. And over time, those seeds bloom into a strong-rooted identity. This is who I am now. Here's your Chapter 9 blueprint. Practice daily self-acceptance. Talk to yourself with respect. Forgive past versions. Stand tall. Speak clearly. Dress intentionally. Let your body reflect your inner shift. Make decisions boldly, even small ones. Each choice strengthens your self-trust. Take up space. Stop shrinking. You are allowed to exist loudly. Do one uncomfortable thing every week. Discomfort is where confidence is forged. Remember, identity is built. You are not discovering yourself. You are creating yourself. This chapter is about emergence, stepping out of the cocoon and spreading your wings. Even if they're still a little shaky, you've done the inner work. Now let the world see it. Own your space. Own your voice. Own your evolution. Because the rebuilt version of you isn't just surviving, they're rising. Chapter 10. Sustaining Growth. Long-term vision and personal mastery. You've made it to month 6, and more importantly, to chapter 10, the final chapter in this rebuilding journey. But here's a gentle reminder. This isn't the end. It's the beginning of a lifelong evolution. Everything you've built, your mindset, your routines, your identity, your boundaries, these are not one-time changes. They're living systems. Like gardens, they need care, attention, and ongoing nourishment. So in this chapter, we're talking about sustaining your growth. Long after this audiobook ends, let's start with a hard truth. Without intention, people often regress. Not because they're weak, but because life is full of distractions, setbacks, and old patterns that whisper, "Come back." It's easier here, but you're not that person anymore. You've proven that. So how do you make sure you keep moving forward, not backward? First, create a structure for self-reflection. Think of it like a regular tune-up for your life. One powerful tool is a monthly or quarterly self-review. Just like businesses review performance and strategy, you should review yourself. Here's what that looks like. Set a recurring date. Maybe the first Sunday of each month. Ask yourself, what's working? What's not? What needs adjusting? Revisit your goals. Are they still aligned? Are you progressing? Check in on your habits. Are you staying consistent or slipping? Let's bring in a real example. Nina, a 34-year-old nurse, used to feel like life was just happening to her. No structure, no control. After rebuilding herself, she created a simple ritual she calls Self-Review Day. On the first of every month, she lights a candle, makes tea, and spends 1 hour with her journal. She rates her habits, revisits her goals, and plans her intentions for the next month. It's become a sacred checkpoint, one that gives her clarity and momentum. For the first time in years, she feels like she's driving, not just along for the ride. This kind of review process is how you prevent regression. You catch the drift before it becomes a spiral. You spot the misalignment before it turns into burnout. You don't wait for life to scream at you. You listen early. Next, continue learning. Personal mastery is not about perfection. It's about progression. So read books, take courses, listen to new ideas, stretch your mind. Growth doesn't stop when things are good enough. That's when it gets interesting. A simple rule, always be working on something. It could be your communication, your leadership, your emotional regulation, your creativity. Let curiosity lead you. Evolving people stay inspired, and inspired people don't slide backward. Now let's talk about your personal mission statement. This is different from a goal. Goals change. A mission is your compass. It answers the question, what kind of human am I committed to becoming? It doesn't have to be fancy, just clear. Here are a few examples. I am a grounded and generous person who leads with purpose. I grow, give, and live fully, every day. I create, I connect, I rise. Write your own, make it your anchor. Put it somewhere you'll see often, your phone lock screen, mirror, journal, or planner. This mission statement is your North Star. When you face tough decisions, return to it. When motivation fades, return to it. It reminds you of who you are becoming and why you started this journey in the first place. Finally, know this, you will evolve again. This 6-month journey was a chapter, not the whole story. You'll change again. You'll face new challenges, meet new versions of yourself, and rebuild again and again. That's not failure. That's growth. So your job isn't to lock into a fixed version of the new you. It's to stay fluid, stay self-aware, stay open. Here's your Chapter 10 blueprint. Schedule regular self-review sessions, monthly or quarterly. Assess and refine your habits, goals, and mindset on a rolling basis. Keep learning. Commit to lifelong growth in mind, body, spirit. Write and live your personal mission statement. Embrace evolution. Stay open to who you're still becoming. The version of you listening to this right now, they're powerful. Not because they've arrived, but because they've decided to rise and keep rising. That's what personal mastery is. Not perfection, but devotion to the process. Rebuilding yourself is not a destination, it's a lifestyle. You've done more than survive these past 6 months. You've transformed. Now it's time to live it, every day, and trust yourself to keep becoming. You're not rebuilt, you're reborn. Take a breath. Close your eyes for a moment, unless you're driving, of course, and feel this truth settle in. You made it. Through 6 months, 10 chapters, countless reflections, and one incredible transformation. But this isn't just about completing an audiobook. This isn't a box you check, or a course you pass. What you've done is far more powerful than that. You've rebuilt yourself, piece by piece, layer by layer. And yet, let's be honest, it wasn't really rebuilding, was it? It was rebirth. Because you didn't just patch up the old version of you. You reimagined who you could be. You showed up for yourself when it would have been easier to quit. You faced your limiting beliefs, your messy habits, your broken pieces, and instead of running, you stood still. You listened. You healed. You grew. That is the essence of courage, and it's worth celebrating. You might not be exactly where you want to be yet. That's okay. Growth is never a straight line, but look back for a moment. Not in shame, but in awe. Think about where you were 6 months ago. The confusion, the burnout, the heartbreak, the disconnection. You started this journey, not with a polished plan, but with a decision to try, to hope, to reclaim something you couldn't quite name. And look at you now. You've cleared the noise. You've taken your power back. You've built routines, set boundaries, let go of pain, and stepped into purpose. You've come home to yourself. And yet, let's not pretend this is the end. This is just the launch point. The truth is, growth doesn't stop. Healing isn't linear, and you will be challenged again. That's not a warning. That's a promise. But this time, you're different. You've equipped yourself with tools, with awareness, and with resilience. Most importantly, you've made promises to yourself. So here's your call to action. Keep those promises. Keep showing up. Keep checking in. Keep living with intention. Because the world doesn't need another perfect person. It needs more real ones. And you in your reborn self are more real than ever. You're not who you were, and you're not done yet, but you're moving forward. Awake, aware, aligned. That's the gift of this journey. Not a brand new life, but a reclaimed one. The life that was always meant for you. The life that had been waiting under the weight of other people's expectations, past traumas, and limiting stories. So take this moment and honor it, not by doing more, but by being more. Being present, being proud, being kind to the you who started this, and grateful to the you who finished. Remember this truth as you go. You're not rebuilt, you're reborn, and your new life isn't ahead of you, it's within you. Now go live it, boldly, bravely, beautifully.